mythological lineage. The birth of Typhon is shrouded in the murky depths of primordial creation, a testament to his ancient and fundamental nature. Unlike many other monsters in Greek mythology who are often the offspring of specific deities or unions, Typhon's parentage is deliberately obscure and laden with symbolism, emphasizing his connection to the most primal forces of the universe. According to the most widely accepted account, Typhon was the progeny of Gaia, the Earth Mother, and Tartarus, the abyssal pit that lies beneath the very foundations of the cosmos. This union itself is deeply significant. Gaia, the embodiment of the fertile earth, represents creation, stability, and the nurturing aspects of the world. Watch this story in full. Subscribe, comment and like my channel, Green Mythology, for mythology and history. Gateway 2, the captivating worlds of ancient myth. Now watch the story in full please. Typhon, the primordial serpent of chaos and terror. Typhon, a name that reverberates with primal fear and awe, stands as a towering figure in the rich tapestry of Greek mythology. He is not merely a monster among monsters, but a titan of chaos, a primordial force of destruction, and arguably the most formidable adversary ever faced by the Olympian gods. His very existence challenged the nascent order of the cosmos, embodying the untamed, terrifying aspects of the natural world that humanity has long sought to understand and control. To truly grasp the significance of Typhon, we must delve into the depths of his mythical origins, his terrifying form, his unparalleled power, and the epic clash that defined his place in the cosmos. He is more than just a creature. He is a symbol, a representation of the chaotic forces that perpetually threaten to unravel the fabric of existence. The genesis of terror. Typhon's mythological lineage. The birth of Typhon is shrouded in the murky depths of primordial creation, a testament to his ancient and fundamental nature. Unlike many other monsters in Greek mythology who are often the offspring of specific deities or unions, Typhon's parentage is deliberately obscure and laden with symbolism, emphasizing his connection to the most primal forces of the universe. According to the most widely accepted account, Typhon was the progeny of Gaia, the Earth Mother, and Tartarus, the abyssal pit that lies beneath the very foundations of the cosmos. This union itself is deeply significant. Gaia, the embodiment of the fertile earth, represents creation, stability, and the nurturing aspects of the world. Tartarus, on the other hand, is the personification of the deepest, darkest chasm, a realm of imprisonment and primordial chaos. Their offspring, Typhon, is thus born from the very heart of creation and chaos, a paradoxical entity that embodies both the generative and destructive forces of the universe. This parentage immediately sets Typhon apart from other monstrous figures. He is not merely a cursed being or a divine punishment. He is an elemental force, a direct emanation of the Earth's deepest, most untamed aspects. His birth is not a simple act of procreation, but a cosmic event, a manifestation of the inherent tension between order and chaos that lies at the heart of existence. Some accounts, however, offer alternative genealogies, further highlighting the fluidity and symbolic nature of Typhon's origins. Hesiod, in his Theogony, suggests that Hera, the queen of the gods, conceived Typhon out of spite and jealousy towards Zeus, who had given birth to Athena without her involvement. In this version, Hera, angered by Zeus's parthenogenetic creation, strikes the earth with her hand and prays to Gaia and Tartarus to grant her a child stronger than Zeus. Gaia and Tartarus, answering her plea, bring forth Typhon. This alternative origin story adds another layer of complexity to Typhon's character. It casts him not just as a primordial force, but also as a being born from divine discord and resentment. He becomes a symbol of Hera's rage and her challenge to Zeus's authority, further emphasizing the theme of cosmic conflict and the struggle for dominance within the divine realm. Regardless of the specific parentage, the recurring theme in Typhon's genesis is his connection to the earth and the underworld, to Gaia and Tartarus. This association firmly establishes him as a chthonic deity, a being rooted in the depths of the earth and the primordial forces that predate the Olympian order. He is not an Olympian god, nor is he a titan in the traditional sense. He is something older, something more fundamental, a relic of the chaotic pre-Olympian cosmos. His very name, Typhon, is also suggestive of his turbulent nature. The etymology of the name is uncertain, but it is often linked to words associated with smoke, whirlwind, and typhoons, alluding to his chaotic and destructive essence. The name itself evokes images of violent storms, volcanic eruptions, and the untamed power of nature, further reinforcing his role as a personification of chaotic forces. In essence, Typhon's origins are not simply a matter of lineage. They're a symbolic statement about his nature and his role in the cosmos. He is born from the union of creation and chaos, from the earth and the abyss, from divine spite and primordial forces. He is the embodiment of the untamed, the terrifying, the chaotic aspects of the universe, a force that perpetually threatens to disrupt the established order. 2. A formidable spectacle of horror. Typhon's monstrous visage. The physical description of Typhon is as terrifying and awe-inspiring as his origins. He is consistently depicted as a monstrous giant, exceeding all other creatures in size and horror. His form is a grotesque amalgamation of human and animalistic features, a chaotic tapestry of serpentine coils, monstrous heads, and elemental fury. Ancient sources paint a vivid picture of Typhon's terrifying appearance, emphasizing different aspects of his monstrous form. Hesiod, in Theogony, provides a foundational description, portraying Typhon as a being of immense size and strength, with 100 dragon heads sprouting from his shoulders. These heads are not merely decorative. They're living, breathing entities, each capable of emitting terrifying sounds: the bellowing of bulls, the roaring of lions, the barking of dogs, and the hissing of serpents. Fire blazes from his eyes, and molten rocks are hurled from his mouth, further emphasizing his elemental and destructive nature. Later accounts, particularly in Roman literature and art, elaborate on Typhon's serpentine features. He is often depicted with serpentine coils forming his lower body, replacing human legs. These coils are not merely decorative. They're powerful appendages, capable of crushing and constricting anything in their path. His upper body remains vaguely humanoid, but it is covered in feathers and scales, further blurring the line between human and beast. The number of heads attributed to Typhon varies across different sources, ranging from 100 in Hesiod to even more in later depictions. Some accounts describe him as having snake heads, while others depict him with a multitude of animal heads, including those of bulls, lions, boars, and various other monstrous creatures. This multiplicity of heads is not just a visual exaggeration. It symbolizes the multifaceted nature of chaos and the overwhelming sensory assault that Typhon represents. Each head can act independently, adding to the creature's unpredictable and terrifying nature. From his thighs downwards, Typhon is described as having massive coils of vipers, further emphasizing his serpentine and chthonic nature. These vipers are not merely attached to his body. They're his body, forming a living, writhing mass that underscores his connection to the earth and the underworld. His voice is described as equally terrifying and multifaceted, a cacophony of sounds that reflects the chaotic nature of his being. He can roar like a lion, bellow like a bull, hiss like a serpent, and bark like a dog, all at once, creating a disorienting and terrifying auditory experience. This chaotic voice is not just a sound. It is a weapon, capable of instilling fear and shattering the composure of even the bravest warriors. Fire and flames are consistently associated with Typhon, emanating from his eyes, mouth, and even his very being. He is a creature of fire and storm, embodying the destructive power of volcanic eruptions, lightning strikes, and raging wildfires. This elemental connection further reinforces his role as a force of nature, a primordial power that transcends the control of the Olympian gods. In artistic depictions, Typhon is often portrayed as a colossal figure, dwarfing even the gods themselves. He is shown battling Zeus, his monstrous form contrasting sharply with the idealized human form of the Olympian king. These depictions visually emphasize the scale of the conflict and the immense threat that Typhon posed to the Olympian order. In summary, Typhon's physical form is a deliberate and terrifying spectacle of horror. He is a grotesque amalgamation of human and animalistic features, a chaotic tapestry of serpentine coils, monstrous heads, and elemental fury. His appearance is not merely monstrous, it is symbolic, representing the untamed, chaotic forces that he embodies. He is a visual embodiment of primal fear, a creature designed to inspire terror and awe in equal measure. 3. Unmatched might and elemental fury. Typhon's powers and abilities. Beyond his terrifying appearance, Typhon possessed powers and abilities that were unmatched by any other creature in Greek mythology. He was not merely strong, he was an elemental force, a being capable of wielding the raw power of nature itself. His might threatened to overwhelm even the Olympian gods and shatter the newly established cosmic order. Typhon's most prominent attribute was his immense physical strength. He was described as being stronger than all other creatures combined, including the Titans and the Giants, previous generations of divine beings who had challenged the Olympian gods. His strength was not merely brute force, it was interwoven with his elemental nature, allowing him to channel the power of storms, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. His 100 dragon heads, each capable of independent action, further amplified his power. Each head could unleash a torrent of fire, venom, or sonic attacks, creating a multifaceted and overwhelming assault. This multiplicity of heads made him unpredictable and difficult to combat, as attacks could come from multiple directions simultaneously. Typhon was also associated with storms and winds. His very name is linked to typhoons, and he was believed to be the source of destructive winds and tempests. He could summon violent storms at will, unleashing torrential rain, thunder, lightning, and devastating winds. This control over the elements made him a formidable adversary, capable of wreaking havoc on both land and sea. Fire was another element closely associated with Typhon. Fire blazed from his eyes and mouth, and he could hurl molten rocks and fiery projectiles. This connection to fire linked him to volcanic eruptions and the destructive power of subterranean forces. His fiery nature further emphasized his chaotic and untamed essence. Some accounts also attribute to Typhon the ability to manipulate the earth itself. He could cause earthquakes, cleave mountains, and reshape the landscape with his immense power. This geokinetic ability further solidified his connection to Gaia and the Earth's primal forces. Beyond these elemental powers, Typhon was also described as being incredibly resilient and difficult to harm. His monstrous form was resistant to conventional weapons, and even divine attacks seemed to have limited effect. This resilience made him an incredibly challenging opponent, requiring extraordinary measures to subdue. His very presence inspired terror and panic in gods and mortals alike. The mere sight of Typhon was enough to send even the Olympian gods fleeing in fear. This psychological weapon was as potent as his physical and elemental powers, contributing to the overwhelming sense of dread that he inspired. In essence, Typhon's powers were not merely superhuman, they were elemental and primordial. He was a being of raw, untamed force, capable of wielding the destructive power of nature itself. His strength, elemental control, and terrifying presence made him the ultimate threat to the Olympian order, a force that seemed capable of shattering the cosmos and plunging the world back into primordial chaos. IV. The Clash of Titans. Typhon's epic battle with Zeus. The defining myth of Typhon's existence is his epic battle with Zeus, the king of the gods. This clash was not merely a physical confrontation. It was a cosmic struggle between order and chaos, between the newly established Olympian order and the primordial forces that threatened to engulf it. The outcome of this battle would determine the fate of the cosmos and the dominance of the Olympian gods. Motivated by his inherent chaotic nature and possibly fueled by Hera's resentment, Typhon launched a devastating assault on Olympus, the home of the Olympian gods. His arrival was heralded by earthquakes, storms, and volcanic eruptions, plunging the world into chaos and terror. The Olympian gods, initially overwhelmed by Typhon's monstrous form and immense power, fled in disarray, seeking refuge in Egypt, where, according to some accounts, they disguised themselves as animals to escape his wrath. Only Zeus, the king of the gods, dared to confront Typhon directly. Armed with his thunderbolts, forged by the Cyclopes, Zeus faced the monstrous giant in a titanic battle that shook the very foundations of the cosmos. The clash between these two titans was described as a cataclysmic event, a battle of elemental forces that threatened to tear the universe apart. Zeus unleashed his thunderbolts, powerful weapons of celestial fire, against Typhon's monstrous forms. The thunderbolts struck with immense force, causing the earth to tremble and the heavens to roar. However, Typhon, with his incredible resilience, withstood the initial onslaught, his multiple heads retaliating with fire, venom, and sonic attacks. The battle raged across the cosmos, spanning mountains, seas, and the very heavens themselves. The earth groaned under the weight of their struggle, and the seas boiled with the heat of their elemental clash. The Olympian gods, initially paralyzed by fear, eventually rallied and joined Zeus in the fight, lending the divine powers to the struggle against chaos. Despite the combined might of the Olympian gods, Typhon proved to be a formidable opponent. He managed to wound Zeus, severing the sinews of his hands and feet, rendering the king of the gods temporarily incapacitated. Typhon then imprisoned Zeus in the Coretian cave in Cilicia, hiding the severed sinews in a bearskin and placing the dragon Delphine to guard them. This temporary victory for Typhon marked the apex of his challenge to the Olympian order. He had not only defeated Zeus but had also effectively imprisoned him, threatening to usurp his throne and plunge the cosmos back into primordial chaos. The fate of the Olympian gods, and indeed the fate of the cosmos, hung precariously in the balance. However, Typhon's triumph was short-lived. Hermes, the messenger god, and Pan, the god of the wild, intervened to rescue Zeus. They tricked Delphine and retrieved Zeus's sinews, restoring his strength and allowing him to resume the battle. Reinvigorated and fueled by divine rage, Zeus returned to confront Typhon with renewed ferocity. He pursued the monstrous giant across the heavens, unleashing a relentless barrage of thunderbolts. This time, Zeus's attacks proved more effective, gradually weakening Typhon and breaking his monstrous defenses. The final confrontation took place in various locations. Depending on the account, some myths place the climax of the battle at Mount Etna in Sicily, while others suggest it occurred in other volcanic regions. In the most common version, Zeus finally subdued Typhon by burying him beneath Mount Etna. The weight of the mountain, combined with Zeus's thunderbolts, effectively imprisoned the monstrous giant, preventing him from unleashing further chaos upon the world. The imprisonment of Typhon beneath Mount Etna is deeply symbolic. It represents the Olympian gods' victory over chaos and the establishment of order in the cosmos. However, it also acknowledges the enduring nature of chaos, which is not destroyed but merely contained, simmering beneath the surface, ready to erupt again. The volcanic activity of Mount Etna is often interpreted as a manifestation of Typhon's continued struggle, a reminder of the ever-present threat of chaos beneath the veneer of order. The battle between Zeus and Typhon is a central myth in Greek mythology, representing the fundamental conflict between order and chaos, civilization and savagery, and the Olympian gods and the primordial forces that preceded them. Zeus's victory over Typhon solidified the Olympian order and established his dominance as the king of the gods, but it also served as a constant reminder of the power and enduring threat of chaos, embodied by the monstrous giant imprisoned beneath the earth. V. Symbolism and interpretations. Typhon as an archetype of chaos. Typhon is not merely a monstrous figure in Greek mythology. He is a potent symbol, an archetype of chaos, disorder, and the untamed forces of nature. His myth resonates with deeper meanings, reflecting ancient Greek anxieties about the fragility of order and the ever-present threat of chaos. As the offspring of Gaia and Tartarus, Typhon embodies the primordial chaos that predates the Olympian order. He represents the untamed, unformed aspects of the universe, the raw potential for destruction and upheaval that lies beneath the surface of civilization. His monstrous form, a chaotic amalgamation of human and animalistic features, visually reinforces this symbolic association with disorder and the breakdown of established forms. His battle with Zeus is a symbolic representation of the struggle between order and chaos. Zeus, as the king of the gods, represents order, law, and civilization. Typhon, in contrast, represents chaos, lawlessness, and the destructive forces of nature. Their clash is not just a physical battle. It is a cosmic struggle for dominance, a fight to determine whether order or chaos will prevail in the universe. Typhon's association with storms, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions further reinforces his symbolic role as a force of chaos. These natural phenomena, in their unpredictable and destructive power, represent the untamed aspects of the world that are beyond human control. Typhon embodies this raw, untamed power, serving as a personification of the chaotic forces that can disrupt and destroy even the most carefully constructed order. His imprisonment beneath Mount Etna is a symbolic act of containment, not destruction. It acknowledges that chaos cannot be eradicated entirely but must be controlled and suppressed to maintain order. The volcanic activity of Mount Etna, interpreted as Typhon's continued struggle, serves as a constant reminder of the enduring presence of chaos beneath the surface, a threat that is always lurking and potentially ready to erupt. In a broader sense, Typhon can be interpreted as a symbol of the irrational, the instinctive, and the primal aspects of human nature. He represents the dark side of the human psyche, the chaotic impulses and destructive tendencies that must be controlled and channeled for civilization to flourish. His monstrous form and chaotic nature reflect the fears and anxieties that ancient Greeks, and indeed humanity in general, have about the potential for disorder and savagery to overwhelm reason and order. Furthermore, Typhon can be seen as a representation of the other, the forces that lie outside the boundaries of civilization and threaten to undermine it. He is a monstrous outsider, a being from the depths of the earth and the primordial chaos, challenging the Olympian gods who represent the established order of the cosmos. This interpretation resonates with broader themes of cultural anxieties about the unknown, the foreign, and the forces that lie beyond the control of civilization. In conclusion, Typhon is a multifaceted symbol in Greek mythology, representing chaos, disorder, the untamed forces of nature, the irrational aspects of human nature, and the threat of the other. His myth serves as a cautionary tale about the fragility of order and the enduring presence of chaos, a reminder that the struggle between these forces is a constant and fundamental aspect of existence. He is not just a monster to be defeated, he is a symbolic representation of the chaotic forces that humanity must perpetually confront and attempt to control. Cultural echoes. Typhon's enduring legacy. Despite his defeat and imprisonment, Typhon's presence continues to reverberate through Western culture, leaving an enduring legacy that extends far beyond the confines of ancient Greek mythology. His monstrous image and symbolic significance have resonated across centuries, influencing art, literature, language, and even modern popular culture. In ancient Greek and Roman art, Typhon was a recurring motif, often depicted in scenes of his battle with Zeus. Sculptures, vase paintings, and mosaics portrayed his monstrous form, emphasizing his serpentine coils, multiple heads, and elemental fury. These artistic representations served to visually reinforce his terrifying nature and the epic scale of his conflict with the Olympian gods. The visual imagery of Typhon contributed to the enduring perception of him as the ultimate monstrous adversary. In literature, Typhon's name and myth have been invoked across various genres and periods. Ancient Greek poets and playwrights referenced him as a symbol of chaos and destruction. Roman writers continued to incorporate him into their mythological narratives, further solidifying his place in the Western literary tradition. During the Renaissance and Baroque periods, Typhon experienced a resurgence of interest, particularly in art and allegorical representations. Artists often depicted him in elaborate and dramatic scenes, emphasizing his monstrous form and the cosmic struggle with Zeus. These depictions reflected the ongoing fascination with classical mythology and the enduring power of Typhon's symbolic significance. In modern literature, Typhon continues to appear as a symbol of chaos, destruction, and primal forces. He is often invoked in fantasy literature, horror fiction, and even science fiction, serving as an archetype of monstrous power and untamed nature. His name and image evoke a sense of ancient terror and primordial chaos, making him a potent figure for contemporary storytelling. Beyond literature and art, Typhon's legacy extends into language itself. The word, typhoon, referring to a violent tropical cyclone, is derived from his name, directly linking the monstrous giant to the destructive power of storms. This linguistic connection ensures that Typhon's name continues to evoke images of chaos and elemental fury in modern language. In popular culture, Typhon has found a new life in various forms of media. He appears in video games, comic books, and films, often as a powerful antagonist or a symbol of monstrous power. These modern adaptations often draw upon his traditional monstrous imagery and his association with chaos and destruction, adapting his myth for contemporary audiences. The enduring appeal of Typhon lies in his symbolic representation of primal fear and the untamed forces of nature. He embodies the anxieties that humanity has always felt about the fragility of order and the ever-present threat of chaos. His monstrous form and epic battle with Zeus continue to resonate with audiences across cultures and centuries, serving as a reminder of the enduring power of myth and the timeless struggle between order and chaos. In conclusion, Typhon's legacy is far-reaching and multifaceted. From ancient art and literature to modern language and popular culture, his monstrous image and symbolic significance have endured for millennia. He remains a potent archetype of chaos, destruction, and the untamed forces of nature, a testament to the enduring power of myth and the timeless human fascination with the monstrous and the chaotic. His story continues to be retold and reinterpreted, ensuring that the name of Typhon, the primordial serpent of chaos and terror, will continue to reverberate through the cultural landscape for generations to come. 7. Echoes of monstrosity. Typhon compared to other mythological beasts. To fully appreciate the unique horror and significance of Typhon, it is insightful to compare him to other monstrous figures from Greek mythology and beyond. While Greek mythology is replete with terrifying creatures, Typhon stands apart in his scale, power, and symbolic weight. Comparing him to other monsters helps to illuminate what makes him truly exceptional. Typhon vs. the Titans. The Titans, the generation of gods preceding the Olympians, were beings of immense power and scale. They challenged the Olympian order in the Titanomachy, a cosmic war that predated Typhon's assault. However, while the Titans were powerful, they were ultimately defeated by the Olympians. Typhon, in contrast, posed a threat even greater than the Titans. His power was described as surpassing that of all other creatures, including the Titans. Furthermore, the Titans, while rebellious, often represented specific cosmic forces or abstract concepts. Typhon, however, embodied pure, unadulterated chaos, a more primal and terrifying force than even the Titan rebellion. The Titans sought to reclaim power. Typhon sought to dismantle order itself. Typhon vs. the Giants, Gigantomachy. The Giants, born from Gaia's blood after the Titanomachy, were another generation of monstrous beings who challenged the Olympian gods in the Gigantomachy. Like the Titans, they were formidable opponents, but they were ultimately defeated by the combined might of the Olympians. While the Gigantomachy was a significant conflict, it is often considered less cosmically threatening than Typhon's assault. The Giants, while monstrous, were often depicted as more humanoid than Typhon, lacking his chaotic, multi-headed, serpentine form. Typhon's monstrousness was more profound, his power more elemental, and his threat to the cosmic order more existential. Typhon vs. Python. Python, the serpentine dragon slain by Apollo at Delphi, is another significant serpent monster in Greek mythology. Python was a chthonic earth dragon, associated with Gaia and the primordial earth. However, Python's power and scale were significantly less than Typhon's. Python was a localized threat, guarding the oracle at Delphi, while Typhon was a cosmic threat, challenging the entire Olympian order. Apollo's slaying of Python is seen as a victory of Olympian order over chthonic forces, but it is a localized victory compared to Zeus's cosmic struggle against Typhon. Typhon is a more primal and terrifying serpent than Python, embodying a more fundamental level of chaos. Typhon vs. Echidna and other offspring. Typhon is often considered the father of many other famous monsters in Greek mythology, through his union with Echidna, a half-woman, half-serpent creature. Their offspring include Cerberus, the Hydra, the Chimera, the Sphinx, and Ladon. While these offspring are individually terrifying and significant monsters in their own right, they are all, in a sense, fragments of Typhon's monstrous essence. They inherit aspects of his chaotic and monstrous nature, but none possess the full scale of his power or the cosmic significance of his threat. Typhon is the primordial source of monstrosity, while his offspring are manifestations of specific monstrous traits. Typhon vs. other serpent deities in world mythology. Comparing Typhon to serpent deities in other mythologies, such as Apophis in Egyptian mythology or Jormungandr in Norse mythology, further highlights his unique characteristics. Apophis, the serpent of chaos in Egyptian mythology, is a powerful force of darkness and destruction, but his role is primarily focused on the nightly struggle against the sun god Ra. Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent in Norse mythology, is a colossal serpent whose release heralds Ragnarok, the end of the world. While both are powerful serpent figures associated with chaos and destruction, Typhon's myth is more focused on the direct confrontation with the chief deity and the struggle to maintain cosmic order. Typhon's battle with Zeus is a more central and defining myth than the roles of Apophis or Jormungandr in their respective mythologies. In summary, when compared to other monstrous figures in Greek mythology and beyond, Typhon stands out as uniquely terrifying and cosmically significant. His scale, power, chaotic form, and symbolic weight surpass those of other monsters. He is not merely a creature to be slain. He is a primordial force of chaos, a fundamental threat to cosmic order. His myth serves as a testament to the enduring human fascination with the monstrous and the chaotic, and the ongoing struggle to maintain order in a universe that is inherently prone to disorder. 8. The Titanomachy and Typhon's role. A cosmic prelude to chaos. While Typhon's most famous myth is his battle with Zeus, understanding his place within the broader context of Greek mythology requires considering the Titanomachy, the epic war between the Olympian gods and the Titans. Although Typhon was not a Titan himself, the Titanomachy serves as a crucial prelude to his emergence and helps to contextualize his role as a force of primordial chaos challenging the Olympian order. The Titanomachy was a 10-year war fought between the Olympian gods, led by Zeus, and the Titans, the older generation of gods ruled by Cronus. The Titans represented an older, more primordial order, while the Olympians represented a newer, more civilized order. The war was a struggle for cosmic dominance, a battle to determine which generation of gods would rule the universe. The Olympians, with the aid of the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires, hundred-handed giants, eventually triumphed over the Titans. Zeus overthrew Cronus, imprisoned the Titans in Tartarus, and established the Olympian order, ushering in a new era of divine rule. This victory was a crucial step in establishing order and stability in the cosmos, replacing the older, more chaotic Titan rule. However, the Titanomachy did not completely eradicate chaos from the universe. The imprisonment of the Titans in Tartarus served to contain, but not destroy, the primordial forces they represented. The Earth, Gaia, was angered by the Olympians' treatment of her Titan children and sought revenge. This resentment and the lingering presence of primordial chaos set the stage for Typhon's emergence. Typhon's birth can be seen as a direct consequence of the Titanomachy. Gaia, enraged by the Olympian victory and the imprisonment of her Titan children, conceived Typhon as a weapon of vengeance, a force capable of overthrowing the Olympian order and restoring the primordial chaos that the Titans represented. In this sense, Typhon is not just a random monster. He is a direct response to the Olympian victory in the Titanomachy, a manifestation of the unresolved tensions and lingering chaos from the cosmic conflict. Typhon's assault on Olympus can be interpreted as a second wave of primordial chaos, a renewed challenge to the Olympian order that was even more formidable than the Titanomachy. While the Titans were defeated by the combined forces of the Olympians and their allies, Typhon initially overwhelmed even the Olympian gods, forcing them to flee and even temporarily incapacitating Zeus. This demonstrates that the victory in the Titanomachy was not a complete and final triumph over chaos. It was merely a temporary suppression, and the threat of primordial disorder remained, embodied in Typhon. The battle between Zeus and Typhon can be seen as a culmination of the cosmic struggle that began with the Titanomachy. It is the final and most decisive confrontation between order and chaos, the ultimate test of the Olympian order's ability to maintain control over the universe. Zeus's victory over Typhon, therefore, is not just a personal triumph. It is a reaffirmation of the Olympian victory in the Titanomachy and a definitive establishment of the dominance over primordial chaos. In essence, the Titanomachy provides the necessary context for understanding Typhon's role in Greek mythology. It establishes the ongoing struggle between order and chaos, the Olympian victory over the Titans, and the lingering resentment of Gaia that ultimately leads to Typhon's birth and assault on Olympus. Typhon is not an isolated monstrous figure. He is a product of the cosmic conflicts that preceded him, a manifestation of the enduring threat of chaos that the Olympian gods must constantly confront. His myth is inextricably linked to the Titanomachy, representing the next stage in the cosmic drama of order versus chaos in Greek mythology. IX. Variations in the myth. Diverse depictions of Typhon. While the core narrative of Typhon's myth remains relatively consistent across ancient sources, there are notable variations and nuances in different accounts, particularly in terms of his parentage, the details of his battle with Zeus, and the location of his imprisonment. These variations highlight the fluidity and adaptability of Greek mythology and offer different perspectives on Typhon's character and significance. Variations in parentage. As previously mentioned, the most common account of Typhon's parentage attributes him to Gaia and Tartarus. However, Hesiod presents an alternative version where Hera is his mother, conceived out of spite and jealousy towards Zeus. This variation emphasizes the theme of divine discord and resentment as a source of chaos, casting Typhon as a product of Hera's rage and her challenge to Zeus's authority. Other minor variations exist, with some accounts suggesting that Typhon was simply born from Gaia alone, further emphasizing his chthonic origins. These variations in parentage underscore the symbolic and adaptable nature of Typhon's myth, allowing for different interpretations of his origins and motivations. Variations in the battle with Zeus. The details of the battle between Zeus and Typhon also vary across different sources. While the core narrative of Zeus using thunderbolts to defeat Typhon remains consistent, the specific events and locations of the battle differ. Some accounts emphasize the initial fear and flight of the Olympian gods, while others focus more on Zeus's solitary struggle. The duration and intensity of the battle are also depicted differently, with some accounts portraying it as a prolonged and arduous cosmic war, while others emphasize Zeus's ultimate and decisive victory. The episode of Typhon severing Zeus's sinews and imprisoning him is not present in all accounts, suggesting it may be a later addition to the myth, adding a layer of vulnerability and temporary defeat to Zeus's otherwise triumphant narrative. Variations in imprisonment location. The location of Typhon's imprisonment also varies in different versions of the myth. While Mount Etna in Sicily is the most commonly cited location, other volcanic regions are also mentioned, including Ischia, a volcanic island near Naples, and even locations in Syria. These variations may reflect regional traditions and local beliefs, associating Typhon with specific volcanic landscapes. The choice of Mount Etna as the primary location likely stems from its significant volcanic activity and its imposing presence as a natural symbol of subterranean power. The variations in imprisonment location highlight the adaptability of the myth to different geographical contexts and local mythologies. Regional variations and interpretations. Beyond specific textual variations, there may have been regional variations in the interpretation and worship of Typhon in ancient Greece. While he was not a deity who received widespread worship, certain regions, particularly those with volcanic activity, may have held local beliefs and rituals associated with him. These regional variations are less well documented but likely existed, reflecting the diverse and localized nature of ancient Greek religious practices. Later interpretations and syncretism. In later periods, particularly during the Roman era and beyond, Typhon's myth underwent further transformations and syncretism with other mythological figures. He was sometimes associated with Egyptian deities like Set, the god of chaos and storms, reflecting the cross-cultural exchange of mythological ideas. In Gnostic and Hermetic traditions, Typhon was sometimes reinterpreted in more allegorical and philosophical terms, representing the forces of ignorance and materialism that hinder spiritual enlightenment. These later interpretations demonstrate the ongoing evolution of Typhon's myth and its adaptation to different cultural and philosophical contexts. In conclusion, the variations in Typhon's myth, while not fundamentally altering the core narrative, highlight the fluidity and adaptability of Greek mythology. They demonstrate that myths are not static texts but rather living traditions that evolve and adapt over time and across different regions and cultural contexts. These variations offer different perspectives on Typhon's character, his battle with Zeus, and his symbolic significance, enriching our understanding of this complex and enduring monstrous figure. They underscore the dynamic nature of mythology and its capacity to be reinterpreted and reimagined across generations. Typhon in the modern world, a monster for the 21st century. Despite being a figure from ancient mythology, Typhon continues to resonate in the modern world, finding new expressions and interpretations in contemporary culture. His monstrous image, symbolic significance, and the enduring themes of chaos and order that he embodies remain relevant in the 21st century, appearing in literature, film, video games, and even scientific discourse. Typhon in literature and film. In modern literature, Typhon continues to be a source of inspiration for writers exploring themes of chaos, monstrosity, and the struggle against overwhelming forces. He appears in fantasy novels, often as a powerful antagonist or a symbol of primordial evil. His monstrous form and chaotic nature provide a rich source of imagery for authors seeking to create terrifying and awe-inspiring villains. In horror fiction, Typhon's name and myth evoke a sense of ancient terror and primal dread, lending a sense of depth and mythological resonance to contemporary narratives. In film, Typhon has also made appearances, often in adaptations of Greek mythology or in films that draw upon mythological archetypes. His monstrous form provides a visually striking and terrifying antagonist, suitable for special effects and cinematic spectacle. Films featuring Typhon often emphasize his chaotic nature and his role as a threat to cosmic order, adapting his ancient myth for a modern visual medium. Typhon in video games and popular culture. Video games, particularly those with mythological or fantasy themes, have embraced Typhon as a powerful and iconic monster. He often appears as a boss character or a formidable enemy, drawing upon his traditional monstrous imagery and elemental powers. His chaotic nature and immense strength make him a challenging and memorable opponent for players. In popular culture more broadly, Typhon's name and image are sometimes invoked to represent chaos, destruction, or overwhelming power, often in a metaphorical or symbolic sense. Typhon in scientific discourse. Interestingly, Typhon's name has also found its way into scientific discourse, specifically in the field of meteorology. As mentioned earlier, the word, typhoon, is derived from his name, reflecting the ancient association between Typhon and destructive storms. This linguistic connection ensures that Typhon's name continues to be associated with powerful and chaotic natural forces in a scientific context. The use of his name for typhoons serves as a subtle reminder of the ancient perception of these storms as manifestations of primordial chaos and untamed nature. Typhon as a symbol of modern anxieties. In a broader symbolic sense, Typhon's myth can be interpreted as reflecting modern anxieties about chaos, disorder, and the fragility of the established order. In a world increasingly characterized by rapid change, uncertainty, and global challenges, the figure of Typhon can resonate as a symbol of the chaotic forces that threaten to disrupt stability and predictability. His myth can be seen as a metaphor for the challenges of maintaining order and control in a complex and unpredictable world. Typhon's enduring appeal. The enduring appeal of Typhon in the modern world lies in his timeless symbolic significance and his potent monstrous imagery. He represents primal fear, untamed nature, and the enduring struggle between order and chaos, themes that continue to resonate across cultures and centuries. His monstrous form and epic battle with Zeus provide a compelling narrative that can be adapted and reinterpreted for contemporary audiences. In a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, the figure of Typhon, the primordial serpent of chaos and terror, remains a relevant and potent symbol. In conclusion, Typhon's myth continues to evolve and adapt in the modern world, finding new expressions in literature, film, video games, and even scientific discourse. He remains a powerful and enduring archetype of chaos, monstrosity, and the untamed forces of nature, reflecting timeless human anxieties and fascinations. His story continues to be retold and reimagined, ensuring that Typhon, the monstrous giant of Greek mythology, will remain a relevant and potent figure for the 21st century and beyond. His legacy as the ultimate embodiment of chaos and terror is secure, ensuring his place in the pantheon of enduring mythological figures.